Good morning, everyone. This is Robert Bright from Unity Church of El Cajon, and it's an honor today to introduce our founding minister, Reverend Arthur Hammons. And Reverend Arthur is going to share a message with us today entitled Find That Open Door. And we're really excited about this message. And Arthur, I know that your book was recently released. And can you remind us what the title is again and how a person might be able to get a copy?
Okay, the title is This Chapter of Your Life, and it's on the I wrote it on the premise that we are the author of our life story, and I give guidelines as to how to write this chapter and make it your best.
Oh, that's very exciting.
Yeah,
Can't wait to read it, Arthur.
and it can be found at arthurhammonds.com, and then it can be ordered there and paid with PayPal.
Wonderful. So
Now,
it's easy to get.
yes,
Okay.
while supplies last.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Uh,
Well, I just want to thank you for being here today and sharing your message of truth. It means so much to us because we love you and we love the way you deliver your
oh,
messages. So I'm just going to turn this over to you.
okay. Thank you. Well, the purpose of this visit uh, with you from me is not to publicize my book, but to eh, be in touch with your higher self. And as I make the effort to do this, you get to have the effort to say, now, is he talking at me or is he talking to me? And as I listen to whatever he has to say, is something else trying to break through to me that would be coming from my higher self? Like, is my spiritual self, my God self, the Christ in me, whatever it is that you call it, is it's speaking to me. And of all the things I would like for you to hear during this time together is the thought that your highest self is always there to guide you and inspire you and speak to you and uplift you. And if you're in tune with that higher self, that higher calling, which speaks your language in just the right way to you, if you're in touch with that, then you'll be led on a path of discovery and progress that will lead you to health and wealth and uh, a happiness, because you'll be able to manage everything that comes your way. So I I don't want you to listen to me. I want you to listen to your higher self. I will go on, but while I do that, the idea is to um, promote your in touch with your higher self. It's like listening to beautiful music or seeing something that's inspiring, a beautiful picture or a scenery or something that then lets that part of you that's always in touch with you have its voice in you to give you the guidance that you need at this time in your life. So, with that understanding, please know that I'm talking with you, not at you. Okay. Then I wanted to share ideas today. This is one of the chapters in my book about find that open door. And I believe that every one of us has an open door in front of us that life is beckoning us to step through. We need to step into what's next for us. And this is because we always need to be on the move. We always need to have a project and a job to do, and goals to achieve. And if we are in the frame of mind to have goals and projects, then this keeps us moving, and it creates something called a causative effect. And I'll get to that causative effect later. That's very important. And you have the ability to stimulate the causative effect and make it work for you. So, with the idea that in front of us there is a door, and we need to open the door if it's not already open and step into what's next. And this is life always calling us to do this. And we can, what we want to do is step away from the familiar and the routine and step into the new next now. And if we can do that, we will step away from things that limit us, like illness and thoughts that are narrow and limited. And we can create for ourselves uh, many opportunities to expand, to learn, and to be very much alive. When we are stimulated and stimulating and alive and energetic and moving forward, learning, growing, expressing, discovering, this has an aura of energy and youthfulness. The opposite of this is being bogged down, stuck, and in the mire of the familiar, and that has the connotation of age and deterioration and being old. And what we want to do is be as energetic and lively as we can be. Now, for some of us, we're beyond being young again. Some of us, and and so the best thing we can do is rather than try and be young, because that could make us look foolish, would be to be wise and energetic, using the consciousness that we have accumulated over the years to further our purposes, our goals, our dreams. But getting to that place is like reaching a door. And I have a affinity for doors. And one of the ideas that I have is that I was at a door when I was in seminary, and I'll make this brief. Um, I had come home from class. We had class all day until around 3 in the afternoon. And it was in my second week of seminary, and it had been my routine, that I lived in a house that was a home, but it had been converted into the dormitory. And we'd had a big, lovely living room. And every evening, the students that lived there in this about 8 room house, so there were 8 of us students, we would all meet in the living room by the fireplace and talk about the lovely things that we had learned all day in class, and about how to become a minister. And we were all there to eventually to graduate and be ordained and then find our own church someplace. And but what would happen, we would have these lovely discussions, and then that they would deteriorate into gossip and making fun of and criticizing fellow classmates that weren't there, and teachers. And so as I went to my room and shut the door, I can still feel that cold little doorknob on my hand. And I said, I can't do this. I can't go back and do the funny um, gossip and criticism thing. Um, because this is not what I came to seminary to do. This is not the me that I want to express. And I just can't do this. And so then myself said, well, then, Arthur, what are you going to do? And I thought, well, I'll just stay in here in my room. And then logic set in and said, you can't do that. They'll come and knock on the door and say, come on. And you'll either go on, or they'll think you're being uppity or something. And so then I said, well, I'll just leave. And then the other part of me said, well, where will you go? And I said, I'll just go out. And it said, well, you can't just go out every night, you know. Um, so I said, I know what, I'll get a job. And so then I thought, well, what would I do? And all these little ideas are bombarding me and saying, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Everybody else is just about to go home. Where are you going to get a job? And what can you do? And then I flashed back on my experience as a car hop at the A&W root beer stand in Dallas, Texas, where I was a car hop on roller skates. And this was a lot of fun at a very memorable summer doing this. And I thought I'll be a waiter. And at home, in our family home, I I was the number one table setter, so I could set tables and take orders. So I decided to start at the top, and I went to the nicest restaurant in Kansas City. I went in and with I drove down and made the affirmations. And by 5 o'clock, I had a job in the nicest restaurant in town. And I got complimentary dinner every evening. I made minimum wage, which was 79 cents an hour, plus tips, plus all kinds of experiences that were just really, really wonderful. And from the tips and the income that I made, I saved all that. And then that helped me ship home my books and all some things that I had purchased that were dear to me, some antiques that were sent home that I didn't have to pay for the shipping that my job paid. But also with my job came a lot of information and experience that I cherish and use to this day. So, but that was because I was at the door and I realized I can't do this. I've got to open the door and step into something better for me. And if you're at that place, and I hope you are, because it means it's time for you to go and grow. And with the world situation the way it is at the time of this broadcast, it is time for a lot of people to get to the door and open it and step through it. So, stepping through the door, there's a cliche that says, where one door opens, another door closes. And the reverse of that is true, where one door closes, another door opens. And sometimes, rather than wait for a door to open, we may just have to open a door ourselves rather than just we'll sit around and wait. And also, where there is no door, you may just have to break through, go through the wall, or through the experience, or through the fear, or through the discovery. And so that those are called breaking through. And there are lots of breakings to do there besides break dancing, but there's breakthroughs, breakouts, breakdowns, breakups, and breakthroughs. And you might have to define what kind of breaking you're going to be doing. But we even if there isn't a door there to step through, then you might have to break through your fear or your lack of courage and have what you want. So, is it time for you to have a breakthrough? And I think it probably is. And maybe you would want to have a break away from the familiar and the routine and do things with a different slant and a different direction that causes you to react in a different way. Now, we all have the ways that we get up in the morning. I don't know if you put on house slippers or a robe, but even if you were to start by putting on the opposite slipper that you usually put on, or put your robe on with a different arm going, it makes your brain go, what's going on here? And it stimulates growth. It probably burns a calorie or two, and it causes you to have a different slant on things. And if we were to see something that irritates us or that we don't particularly like, and we were to just not go into the routine or the rut or the familiar way of judging it or being unhappy about it or complaining about it, but saw it and verbalized a different set of words about it, this would jar our brain so that something else might come along, another thought or another slant or another view of how it could be. So we want to think about breaking away from the familiar and the routine. Another point I would like to make is that we need to be decisive. We need to decide, not postpone, but decide this is my time. This is the time for me to step through the door, to open the door. And where if I open this door, other doors are, if the cliche is right, where one door opens, another door closes. If the cliche is right, if I open this door, another door is going to close, and it may very well hit you in the backside on your way out. But that slap in the behind might just propel you a little bit forward. And the forward propulsion might just be really what you need, and and would be well deserved because you started it by opening the door. So rather than wait for a door to open, we may have to decide and be decisive. Decide that you're going to make what you want to happen. And but then in order to know how what you want to happen and how you're going to make it happen, you might have to create that door and open it yourself. And uh, you might ask, in thinking about what do I want to happen, you might ask, what is waiting for me on the other side of the door that I need to open? What's just waiting for me? And if you were to be able to get more exercise, what might be waiting for you would be a healthier body, more energy, uh, uh, less girth, um, uh, stimulated thought that comes with having more blood getting to your brain, and because you're moving, and the adventure of getting out and being with other people, and being at a safe distance, and all those things that are new and important to us. And this stimulation could really be of benefit to you. So rather than wait for a door to open, it might be best for you to decide, be decisive, to open that door and make what you want to happen. But then in finding out, well, what do I want to happen? It would be good for you to have that conversation like I did while my hand was on the doorknob. I can't do this. Well, what are you going to do? Well, I'll just go out. Well, you can't just go out. Well, I'll get a job. Well, what would you do? What could you possibly do at this time of day? And then, but as you keep asking those questions and having that discussion with yourself, or eventually you'll reach a place where you'll have an epiphany, a dawning of an idea that will lead you to results that you deserve, that will just fit your needs, and that will be your reward for having asked the questions, sought out the answers, and realized you need to move from where you are, and move from the familiar and the routine, and be on your way to what's next for you. And you're the creator of what's next for you, and the discoverer of what's next for you. And you can build on the foundation of all that you've accomplished and been through, and all that you know, and cash in on all that experience and knowledge, and use it to pay for the discovery that you're about to make. Another idea, besides creating the door and opening it for yourself, is asking what's waiting for you on the other side of that door, and then believing that you have the power to create what you want. Now, this is an important aspect of for all of us at any time in our lives. And if you're older, or you're starting out, or wherever you are, it is legitimate to say, how can I create what I want? Do I have the power? Do I have the resources? Do I have the money? Well, all of those things will fall into place once you have decided that you do have the power, that you believe you have the power to create what you want. Now, this is an important thing to acknowledge. You have used this power that you have to create what you want all your life. Remember that the shag carpet that you just thought was so beautiful and you had to have? Do you remember that avocado colored refrigerator? Do you remember those cars? Some people have husbands and wives that they've gone through. They wanted them, they believed they could have them, they got them, they learned from them, and then they moved on to other acquisitions. um, you are capable of creating what you want, and you are capable of discovering what it would be best for you to want at this time in your life. You have the power to discover what's next for you, and you have the power to believe that you can have it. It can be yours. And in figuring out what's next for you, it's all right for you to look around and compare yourself, your life, to others, and see what they're doing that you admire, and how some of them are doing what you would not want to be doing in your life. And those that are not producing what you'd like to produce can be an inspiration to you, and maybe that's why their path has crossed yours. But also those that are doing and accomplishing the things that they're accomplishing could be an inspiration for you to accomplish what you can accomplish. And so, but in order to get there, you have to find the door, open it, step through it, and know that as it opens you up to unlimited possibilities, and it closes off the past so that you are free from that, and you are then free to move forward. So you want to believe that you have the power to create what you want, and then believing that you can have that power, looking around and seeing how others use their skills and power. Then it would be time for you to visualize what's possible, visualize the possibilities that there are for you at this time in your life, in your circumstances, where you are financially, where you are with your health, where you are in your relationships, where you are in your scope of prosperity. And once you visualize the possibilities, then things start to see, you start to see things, you start to see ideas, you start to get a map that can lead you from point to point and eventually deliver you to the success that you so long for. This visualization creates causative a causative effect. Now let me tell you about this. I think this is really exciting. Causative effect means that once you get started, then one thing leads to another, and the causes and the effects all blend together to get you to an end result that you desired in the first place. So we have grandsons. They're 7.5. They're adorable. They're twins. They're fraternal, and we spend a lot of time with them. And that we're going to have sushi for dinner tonight, and we have lots of fun. We learn together. We're going through, all four of us, Virginia, their grandmother, and each of them and I are going through first grade together. It's my second time, and as we do what we do, we like to bake gluten free. They are gluten freeers, so we love to bake gluten free bread, and so we always have bread for them, and like a pound cake thing that's really yummy. And so there's bread that tastes like bread, and then bread that tastes like pound cake. And as we cook this, we get the box that the mix comes in, and you can see the picture on the box of what what your end result is going to be. That's really helpful in this causative effect idea. And then you get the eggs, then you get the vanilla, the water, and the oil. Those are all the ingredients. You mix it all together, and before you know it, it's time to pour it in the pan, put it in the preheated oven, and within minutes, the kitchen smells wonderful, and you've got your bread, and it's going to be fun because you saw the picture, you did put the ingredients together, you mixed it up, you followed the directions, and then it happened. And that's what causative effect is, the activity of believing that you can have what you want, visualizing what you want, visualizing the possibilities. And if you can't quite visualize the possibilities, then ask your higher self, which has hundreds of names, but it could be God or spirit or what's next for me, that's best for me, by asking, well, where do I go from here? What could I possibly do at this point in my life that would be uh, better than anything I've done, or as good as, but on a new level of anything that I've ever done before. And by asking what's waiting for you, by believing that you have the power, by visualizing the possibilities, then you can own your vision and believe you can have it. You can own it. And by owning it and adopting it as yours, then it starts to do this causative effect thing. And before you know it, it is yours and you are close to it. And before you know it, you'll realize I've stepped through that door. I'm on my way, and I'm out of the routine and the familiar, which is a rut. And a rut, some people say, is a grave that's open at both ends. And I'm on my way. And then being on your way, you can tell that you're on your way because of the way you feel, because of the way you're thinking is different and more positive and more progressive. And the results that you're manifesting are truer to who you are now. And they're they make you happy, they make the people around you happy, and they make the people around you curious enough to go, well, if you can do it, I can do it, or what's up with you. um, and you might be then the inspiration to them in your circle of friends, with your family, with the people that you associate with. You could make a difference. And then by following these guidelines, you can make an entrance. Now, I don't know about you, but I remember growing up and watching the Loretta Young show. And Loretta Young was a beautiful movie star, and she had a television series where each week she would present a story that was 30 minutes long, and she would star in the story about some woman that was doing something or suffering through something or celebrating something. But at the beginning of her show, she would come open a door and step into the room and do a whirl around like a Dior turn, and then go good evening, and always she was beautiful, and she always had on a beautiful dress or gown, and then she would launch into the story. And I that's what I think of when I think of somebody making an entrance, stepping in and getting everyone's attention. So I think that perhaps these are the guidelines that might be helpful to you. And since we started off saying, let spirit or your higher self speak to you, perhaps during this time together, your higher self has spoken. And these are some of the things that it has mentioned to you or guided you to think about and to see. And if these really do appeal to you, it might be best for you to jot them down rather than put them in your wonderful brain where so many other wonderful bits of information are, that it could get lost or delayed in finding expression. So if you have it written down in front of you, that might be your best way to capture it. Okay, so um, where one door opens, another door closes. It's time to make a breakthrough, a break up, a break down, break out, or break away from the familiar and the routine. And then we want to be decisive. And rather than wait for a door to open, we may have to create a door and open it ourselves, or just break through whatever seems to be limiting us and decide that we're going to make what we want to happen. Then we want to create that door and open it ourselves. Ask what's waiting for us on the other side of that door. Believe that you have the power to create what you want. Visualize the possibilities. Start the process of uh, const- constructive effort and causative. Start the process of the causative effort, and then own your vision and believe that you can have it, and then make an entrance. I hope these ideas are helpful to you, and I hope that you'll find that door and step through it as soon as you can. Thank you.
I'm through asking where I'm going. I've been asking all my life. I've grown tired of all this wandering, when everything seems to turn out right. So when my mind needs something to do, wants to know the future, I whisper this: I'm okay. I've always been, and I'll always be that way. So here goes nothing. I'm taking a chance. I'm opening up, knowing that I'm in good hands. And here goes everything. It's all on the line, but I'm not afraid this time. Some say it's crazy, some say naive, to close my eyes and take the lead. But I know better, 'cause I believe even in the darkness my soul can see. So when my mind plays its usual game, oh, my answer is always the same. Here goes nothing. I'm taking a chance. I'm opening up, knowing that I'm in good hands. And here goes everything, it's all on the line. But I'm not afraid this time. Here goes nothing, I'm taking a chance. I'm opening up, knowing that I'm in good hands. And here goes everything, it's all on the line. But I'm not afraid this time. No, I'm not afraid this time. No, I'm not afraid this time. 'Cause I'm okay. I've always been, and I'll always be that way. I'm okay. I've always been, and I'll always be that way.